Blessed Rising Soul Family, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, this is Soul Family Oracle, and I welcome you to the channel. If you're returning, as always, thank you so much. I don't know if you guys can feel through the energy, but I feel so excited. I feel like it's part of the energy of this message and just this like intense understanding or feeling I have from the understanding of this message. And today's message basically says that your story has changed. Oh my goodness. Your story has changed. Your story has changed. Whoever I'm speaking to, this message is basically to tell you that you are no longer living under that same story anymore. And this is not to say that whatever your story was or whatever it is that was part of the foundation of who you are now, the story that has carried you to this place that you are now, it's not to say that that story is no more relevant. No, this is basically to say that that story has kind of like lived out its relevance. You understand? It's like those stories have lived out their relevance, and now you are living from a space where you are creating a new story because now you have a new storyline. So it's like this is coming through. It's like I mean, I'm getting this energy of like being the lead role in or the main character in your story, right? And I feel like whoever I'm speaking to, you've gone through the last phase, which has probably been like, let's say, the last 15 years, 20 years, for some maybe even 30 years is what I'm hearing. You've gone through this last period basically living under the energy or the influence of the story that carried you there. So you've been living under the story of like something that happened from 20 years ago or something that happened to you from your childhood. You understand? So let's say maybe you grew up in a very toxic family dynamic or a very toxic family environment, and it had a lot of effect on you growing up, and it caused a lot of traumas that shaped how you were and how you behave and all those things, right? And that has been the story that you've carried of who you are, how you behave, and the things that motivate you to do what you do. But now it's like that energy is moving out of your system because you have elevated from that point where it's like those things that used to look like what was the fuel for what you were doing are no more the fuel for it. It's like they've become, it's almost like you can see that it's no more like a part of your energy. It's just become a story of what you used to be because you have stepped into a new energy of what is meant to be. You understand? So it's like what used to be has become the old story. What used to be the stories that defined who you are has become the old story. And now this new story, this new chapter, and no, actually not new chapter. It's like a whole story, a whole book has been closed out. This is like a whole new book. You understand? So this is even not even like a new chapter. It's like a whole new story, right? And this whole new story, what I'm getting is like it's going to be very, very different from the old story that you had. It's going to be like a total swing from the energies that binded you from the story that you used to have. And this story is like this is going to be this new story that you're writing, or this new story that you're going to be living in. It's going to be a story of freedom, of abundance, of love, of kindness, of joy, of happiness, of success, you understand, of achievement. So whereas maybe this is not to say that where you were, you weren't successful before where you were, right? But this is to say that, for instance, your success and everything that you were doing before was based on the facts of your story, was based on the energies that you had developed from the story that you were carrying as your fuel, the story that you were carrying as your inspiration for doing what you were doing, right? And so you may have been making strides and making achievement, but all in the name of your struggles, all in the name of your emotional trauma, all in the name of your pain. And I'll give you an example, right? Like somebody who strives to become so successful in their career, you understand, because they had a childhood of poverty where they were so poor that they couldn't afford basic things, and it really affected them. And growing up is like one thing that has been in their mind, that I am going to become so successful that my family doesn't experience the kind of poverty that I went through. right? And so now they've gone through their life, or like though that phase of their life, like building and creating businesses, or like building their career with the intention of not going through, or not having their family go through what they went through when they were young. And it's like that is not the story that you are meant to live from the rest of your life. So it's like now that story is released, because it's like a healing has happened. And thank you, Spirit. That is what was behind the story, because a healing has happened. A healing has happened that has allows this person to release that old story as their fuel or as their inspiration. You understand? And then now it's like, it's not about achieving things so that you don't have to face poverty. Now it becomes about doing things because you love it, achieving things because they make you happy, because they inspire you, because they motivate you, living your life from a space of joy and fearlessness, and not a space of limitation, like thinking like, well, I need to make this happen because I don't want to go broke, or I need to make this happen because I don't want my children to face what I faced in my childhood. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with using the experiences from your past or your traumas as fuel to excel, or as fuel to push yourself to reach a certain level of a certain level of excellence. Thank you, Spirit. To push yourself to reach a certain level of excellence, right? But it's like, it gets to the point where that becomes an old story. It gets to the point where that becomes not part of you anymore, unless you haven't healed from that trauma. And I feel like that is where the healing part comes in. It's like, whoever I'm speaking to, you have healed the traumas that were attached to the influences, or the things that you were influenced by or went through when you were a younger, or when you were at a period in your life where you were really shaping yourself, or at that point where whatever it was happened to really like shift your whole perspective, or like to shift your energy to be in that to be in that state of feeling like your story is not going to change, or your story is going to remain the same forever. So I feel like in a case where it used to be about how you struggled, right? It used to be about how you've been through so much pain, and it used to be about how your heart has been broken so many times, and that you've made so many losses, or you've been backstabbed so many times. Now it becomes a story of how you have reached this point despite all the backstabbing. You have reached this point despite all the heartbreak. You have reached this point despite the lack from your childhood. You've reached this point despite all the obstacles and the things that you went through. So do you see the difference, right? So the old story, when you're living from the old story, it's like you're living and telling the stories of how you are surviving, or how you survived, right? And it's like the new story is like telling the stories of how you are actually living, right? And I think I said this in one of the other videos about how living is different from surviving. And a lot of us right now, we are being called to live. We're being put in the position to live and not just survive. And I feel like another thing that we don't realize is how much a lot of people survive, through their emotions, like emotional survival. You understand? So a lot of people are kind of like using their emotions as some kind of like a shield, right? Instead of like using the emotion as how would I say it? As using it as like some kind of like, as like an experience, like as part of the experience, as something to explore, right? Like for instance, when an emotion comes up, or when they're feeling a certain type of emotion, to embrace the emotion and then explore it by asking, like, why am I feeling this way? Would I feel different if I did things that way, or would things be different if I was feeling the other way? You understand? As compared to like using it as a shield, where it's like maybe you're feeling sad, you take that sadness and then it's like you use it as a shield to block others out, and it's like, I don't want anybody in my space because the way I'm feeling, I'm going to snap at somebody, or I'm going to get mood swings, and then I won't be nice to somebody. That is the emotion being used as a shield. You understand? So I feel like this state that you're in right now, whoever this message is for, this state that you're in right now, it's also because of the healing that has been done. So not only, it's not like you're just releasing the old stories, like you don't want to say the old stories anymore, or they are not relevant to you anymore, you've forgotten about them. No. It is specifically because you have healed from the old stories. And I'm getting the sense of somebody, realizing how much they've healed from their old stories. Like somebody, realizing how much they've healed and how much they don't identify with their story anymore. But that's because you were needing to create a new story. You were needing to create a new story. And it's like you are in the position to create a new story. You understand? You are in the position to create a new story. And I feel like this new story, again, is not going to be all about the difficulties that you went through. It's not going to be about your childhood traumas. It's not going to be about how, you were abused and taken advantage of. It's not going to be about how your heart was broken so many times and how you made so many losses and it's not going to be about all those things. It's going to be about how you have reached where you've reached despite of those things. You understand? That's a very different storyline. And I feel like that's why it was saying also, like, this is not a chapter. This is not a new chapter. You understand? This is a new book. This is a whole new story, right? In any sense, if you want to create some kind of connection between this new story and the old story, then you can say it's like some kind of like is it a sequel? Yeah, I think, a sequel, right? When they like make the continuation of like another movie in another movie, or a movie in another movie, something of the sort. So like a sequel, you can, if in any case you want to create a link between them, you can just say it's like a sequel, right? But otherwise, it's a whole new story. It's a whole new story. And I feel like this new story is going to oh my goodness. I feel like this new story is going to just make you so happy. This new story is going to be so different from the stories that you're used to or the story that you were operating from. And I remember this message. There was a message that we did a few weeks ago that said, I hope I can remember to put it in 12:12 on the timer, just as I said that. So I have to remember around 12:12 on the timer is where to put that message. And it was saying that your blessings are going to humble you into submission. Your blessings, it's like they're going to humble you into believing. They're going to humble you into receiving. They're going to humble you into just basically opening yourself up into being receptive to the universe. It's like that your blessings are going to leave you with no choice but to believe. It's going to leave you with no choice but to like have faith. It's like you're going to look at your blessings and be like, there's no way I cannot believe. There's no way I cannot believe that. Hold on, guys. Our call coming through. Yeah, 133 on the timer now, right? And I feel like this is going to be just like, this new chapter is going to be like, this is the chapter where you live out your blessings. It's like, this is the chapter where, again, new book, new story. In this new story, you will live your bliss. This new story is not about survival. Again, this is the part where you live. So I feel like for somebody also, it's like a lot of different things have led you to the wrong energies or like the wrong places, or the wrong has put you in the wrong direction or the wrong path, because you were thinking from a space of limitation and a space of lack, right? Where instead of releasing those stories and allowing yourself to create a new story that fits who you are now and fits the energy that you walk in now, you were still carrying the energies of the old stories. Like you were still using the old stories as the basis for how you live, right? Or as the reasons for the way that you operate your life, the way you operate it. You understand? However it is that you were doing. And it's like this caused you to make certain decisions or to take certain actions that were not in alignment with your higher self, that were not in alignment with the abundance that you've reached, were not in alignment with the kind of energy that you are walking in right now. You understand? And I feel like in this new story right now, in this new book, you are going to be creating the things that allow you to live, the things that allow you to release. It's like you're going to be like creating from a place of fullness, from a place of wholeness, right? From a place of abundance, and not from an energy of lack or limitation. You are literally going to be like creating the things that you do want to have, you do want to see. It's not going to matter what you experienced in the past, where it's like, oh, maybe I should just do it this way because I don't want things to turn out like, how I experienced, or how my it's like those things will not matter anymore, because you I feel like whoever you are, you've reached a point, or you're reaching this point where you are really like understanding 15 on the time. I thank you, Spirit. You are really understanding that things have changed. Things have changed for you, that you have changed, that like things are not the same anymore, that the energy is not the same anymore, not the same around you, not the same around your experiences and the things that you are involved in. So I feel like for whoever this message is for, I feel like it's like you're being called to create. You're being called to create the life that you want to live, right? And if you're already living the life that you say, this is the life I want to live, then I feel like it's a call to like create 1555 on the timer. It's a call to like create the things that are most ideal for you in terms of how you would want to live, and the things that you would want to create if you didn't have all these like restrictions in your mind, or all these limitations in your mind because of the past that you've had, or because of your story. You understand? So for whoever this message is for, I feel like this really is a period to be so joyful, a period to do the things that make you happy, the things that make you feel blissful. You understand? The things that make you feel full and whole. It's time to really release the conditions of the old story, the influences of the old story, because you are in a new story, because you are writing a whole new book, and it's like you have full control. You are no more living from the limitations of before. You are no more living from the fears of your past experiences. You're no more living from the energies that were imposed on you because of the conditionings of your past, right? Because of the traumas of your past. It's like now you are free. That's the key word here, freedom. Now you are free to live the life that you love, the life that you want to live, the life that you desire to have. Because that old story is no more your story. Your story has changed. You are no more that person. And again, that's what I'm saying. It's not like the old story is not relevant anymore. That's not what it's saying. But it's like it doesn't have an influence on you anymore. It doesn't impact your life in the way that it used to anymore. That is done. And now you get to live from this beautiful space of co-creating with the divine, your most beautiful, most abundant, most loving, most joyous life yet. And I feel like this is so beautiful. This is like whoever this message is for, you are so deserving of this. You are so deserving of the peace and the joy and the bliss that is coming into your life. You are so deserving of this new phase. And it's like, I feel so joyous. Like I feel so happy for you. And I feel like I feel happy for myself also. You understand? To be the bearer of this message. And it's like, it's been a long time coming, Charlie. I feel like whoever this message is for, you will understand. It's not about achievement or success. You've done well despite where you're coming from, or despite the things that you're going through. But you haven't been able to release the energy, right? Haven't been able to like release yourself from the energy, to heal from the energy. And this is happening right now. As always, please listen with discernment. Take only what resonates and leave what doesn't. And if the message resonates with you, I urge you to please like, share, subscribe to help us reach even more of our soul tribe. Have a blessed day, guys.